When I first found out about the Mavic Mini, I was really excited because I've always wanted a drone like a Phantom, but I could never justify the price of something like that for myself. But I do love to travel, I do love to take photos, I'm just too cheap. So DJI came up with a perfect product for people like me, which was a drone that takes pretty professional looking videos and pictures for only $399. I read a lot of reviews, I watched a lot of reviews, and every video that I saw of it in flight and action and the footage that came from it just got me more and more hyped up for it. I looked at other drones in that same price range, and really there's nothing that you could compare the Mavic Mini to in that price. I did go for the Fly More combo, it's $100 more. The reason I went for that is because you get 2 extra batteries. The drone comes with 1 battery already, so you get 3 in total. You get a charging case, so you could charge all your batteries. And the cool thing about it is it doubles as a battery bank, so you could charge your other USB devices. You get a nice case, and you get propeller guards in case you want to turn your drone into a bumper copter. During the time that I was waiting for it to come out and for it to ship over to me, I just kept watching more and more reviews that were coming out, and it just got me more and more hyped and excited to finally be able to fly my drone once I got it. When I got the notification that it was finally shipped over to my house, I was at work. But I was so excited, I actually had my girlfriend go to my house, grab the package, and drive it to me all the way at work. I was being annoying so I could fly this drone. I charged it up and went outside to fly it. I turned it on, connected it, and needed firmware updates. It took about 20 minutes. After the drone updated, it took another about 5-10 minutes for the battery update too. So it took about 30 minutes from the time that I charged the batteries and was ready to fly it to when I was finally able to fly it. The reason I'm saying this is just to put you in my shoes. I got even more and more excited, and the drone just basically kept teasing me. So after all this is done, I have it set up outside, finally time to fly. I pull up the app, I connect it to the drone, connect my phone to the controller, we're good to go. But the app wouldn't let me lift off because of something called authorization zones. I had never heard about authorization zones before, despite all my research, videos, and I know that there's a lot of other people are going through this right now too. The reason I know is because now that I knew exactly what to Google, what authorization zones were, a lot of people are having the same issue and calling their drone a paperweight. So what's an authorization zone? If you're like me about 3-4 weeks ago, you have no idea. An authorization zone is an area where DJI, the company, is limiting flights of their drone that you purchased. These could include schools, prisons, airports. They don't want you flying in certain zones around these areas, which makes sense for safety, that somebody wouldn't want to fly a drone in an airport, plus you could get in big trouble. I don't know who's trying to fly a drone over a prison. Just places where you're not really supposed to be flying the drone anyways, but DJI is limiting even takeoff in these areas. Now, why is this an issue if you're somebody who's not trying to fly over a prison? Well, some of these zones overreach any logical boundary. For example, you can't fly within 3-4 miles of most airports. In my case, the authorization zone warning that I was getting was POTUS, President of the United States. Now, side note, this has nothing to do with the president. This is about DJI, the company, limiting the flight. I live in South Florida. On weekends, Trump sometimes visits Mar-a-Lago, which is about 40 miles north of me. DJI is limiting flight in a 90-mile radius from where he stays. So he's up north, about 40 miles north of me, all the way down where I live, and even a little bit further down south where I work. We're all encompassed in this huge 90-mile radius. It's covering well over 2 million people in South Florida, Palm Beach County, Broward County, where you can't fly. If you look at it on the map, it's astonishing how big the circle is. So in this zone, you can't even lift the drone off the floor. The app's limiting you. Now, I'm sure that there's some people who have drones from DJI already and who know what authorization zones are. You may be thinking, well, you can use that app to ask for permission to fly in these areas. So yeah, it's an inconvenience, but it's not as drastic as I'm making it out to be. You can't request for permission to fly in authorization zones yet with the Mavic Mini. DJI's answer to that is that they're going to be coming out with an update eventually. They said it would be in late December. It is late December now, and there's still no update. I've had the drone for about a month, and I haven't been able to fly it for about half of that time. Currently, because the president may or may not be spending Christmas and New Year's up in Mar-a-Lago, there is a flight restriction from the 19th of December to January 5th, where nobody in half of South Florida in that 90-mile radius is able to fly. I wanted to fly and catch some light shows with the drone. I'm not able to do that. It's a paperweight. The restriction that I was having that day when I got the drone originally was a 3-day restriction of no flying. So now that I knew what to search specifically for authorization zones, I found a whole bunch of people complaining about this online, calling their drones paperweights like the Mavic Mini because there's no update for us, we can't fly it, it's crazy. There were a couple people who do photography for weddings with their drones who failed at their job because their drone wouldn't even lift off because they'd be in an authorization zone. How are we supposed to know this before purchasing the drone if DJI isn't advertising or telling anybody about these zones until after you make your purchase? And the annoying thing is, to return it, there is a restocking fee. You lose 15% of what you bought. DJI is marketing this drone as being a 249 gram drone. They even have it stamped right here on the side of the drone. Why are they so happy about it being only 249 grams? Oh, because it's under the 250 gram limit that the FAA has on any drone where you'd have to register it with them. So essentially they're doing it, pun intended, to fly under the FAA's radar and make the drone a little bit more attractive to newcomers or people who just want a drone where they otherwise cannot have one or fly it around. But in this case, it's not the government that's limiting where you could fly the drone, it's DJI. DJI is limiting where they could fly their limitless drone. And to me, it's just crazy. A few ranting questions. 1. Why does DJI limit where you could fly your purchase? 2. Why do they not warn about these restrictions before purchasing their drone? 3. Why don't they allow a user to safely land their drone instead of allowing the software to take full control and cause the drone to just essentially crash land? Doesn't seem safer than allowing somebody to control their own drone. 4. Why not just have a liability waiver or something like that for the drone? If you're trying to skydive, you sign a liability form that says, hey, look, you may die. When you buy a gun, there's no sensor on the gun that limits where you could shoot it and not shoot it. Now, my last example was extreme, obviously, but you get the point. So yeah, I'm returning the Mavic in the next week when I have some time to package it up and take it back over to Best Buy. I just want to see if I could get at least one flight after this recent restriction is lifted. That way I could get this drone thing out of my system for now. I did place a pre-order for the Skydio 2 drone. It's the autonomous drone, really cool stuff. I'm not going to get my shipment until third quarter of 2020. If you're interested in it, it does cost twice as much as the Mavic, but I would rather have something that I could fly and something that's essentially crash proof than have something as frustrating as a Mavic Mini. If you're somehow able to endure the last 8-9 minutes of me rambling about a drone, I really do appreciate it. This is my second YouTube video. I only did it because it is something that frustrated me a lot. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that this will resonate with. Hopefully some people catch this video in their research so they could do some more research on authorization zones and see if they'll even be able to fly the drone in their area if they purchase it. It's not a cheap device, even though drone-wise it is on the lower price end of that spectrum, but I'd rather invest my money into something that I could actually use. So yeah, have a great day, have a great 2020, and talk to you later. Thank you.